You ever skipped a meal, maybe got too busy, forgot to eat, and then hit that weird point around hour 18 where you feel strangely clear-headed and not even that hungry anymore? And you're like, wait, shouldn't I be dying right now? Well, what's actually happening inside your body during that stretch is way more interesting than just you're running low on food. Today we're breaking down exactly what happens when you don't eat for a full 24 hours. The real biology, not the oversimplified stuff you've heard before. Most people think fasting is just your body slowly running out of gas, like a car coasting to a stop. But that's not what's happening at all. Your body doesn't just empty out. It actually shifts into a completely different operating mode, and the changes that happen are happening fast. They're happening across multiple systems at once, and some of them are genuinely surprising. I've gone through the research on this, and there are a few things that almost never come up in the usual fasting conversation that are worth knowing. So let's get into it. The first thing that happens, and this kicks in earlier than most people expect, is that your body changes what fuel it's actually running on. When you eat normally, your liver stores glucose as something called glycogen, basically a quick access energy reserve. During the first 12 to 24 hours without food, that glycogen supply starts to drop and your body starts leaning harder on fat for fuel instead. But here's the part that's actually cool. Your liver starts converting fat into molecules called ketones, and your brain starts using those ketones as an alternate energy source. So it's not like your brain is just sitting there starving, waiting for you to eat a sandwich. It's actively adapting, switching over to a backup fuel system. That's why some people report feeling surprisingly sharp or clear-headed during a fast. It's not a placebo. It's a real metabolic shift happening in real time, and the blood chemistry changes during this window are bigger than most people realize. One review found that 12 to 24 hours of fasting can cause at least a 20% drop in blood glucose levels, depending on how active you are. That's a significant swing. Your body is actively managing that drop by pulling from fat stores and ramping up ketone production to compensate. So when you feel that weird calm energy around hour 16 or 18, that's actually your body running a pretty efficient alternate system, not falling apart. But that's just the fuel side of things. Because fasting also does something else that most people never hear about. It actually changes your body at the hormonal level in a way that's almost protective. Growth hormone production tends to rise during a fast. Now, most people who talk about this frame it purely as a fat loss thing, like your body is just torching fat more aggressively. And yeah, that's part of it. But the less discussed reason your body bumps up growth hormone is actually to protect your muscle tissue. Think about it. Your body is temporarily short on incoming energy, so it needs a way to preserve lean mass while it's burning through fat. Growth hormone is part of that protective response. One review also found that major protein breakdown is actually minimal within the first 24 hours, which means the whole fasting eats your muscle fear is largely overblown at this time frame. The drama at 24 hours is happening in your glucose systems, your fat metabolism, and your hormonal signaling, not large-scale muscle loss. So your fuel changes, your hormones shift to protect lean tissue, and your blood chemistry is moving more than you'd think. But there's another layer here that gets even more interesting, and it has to do with how many things are changing simultaneously. One fasting study found that 44 different metabolites increased during a fast, some of them by as much as 60 times their normal levels. 60-fold. That's not a minor adjustment. That's your body doing a full-scale reprogramming across dozens of pathways at once. Fasting isn't flipping one switch. It's more like your body running a system-wide software update. And that's important because it helps explain why fasting research keeps turning up benefits that seem totally unrelated to each other. Lower blood pressure, better insulin sensitivity, changes in heart rate variability. These aren't random. They're all downstream effects of this broader metabolic shift your body goes into when food stops coming in. Researchers have actually noted that fasting shares some cellular responses with exercise, like it registers as a controlled stress signal that your body adapts to, rather than just an absence of calories. Now, if you've spent any time in fasting communities online, you've probably heard the word autophagy thrown around a lot. The idea is that fasting triggers your cells to clean out damaged components and recycle them, which sounds incredible. And it is real, but the timing is usually oversold. Most sources say autophagy-related cellular maintenance starts ramping up somewhere in the 16 to 24-hour window. But here's the honest version. The actual magnitude of autophagy from a single short fast in humans isn't clearly established yet. The research is still catching up. So it's probably happening to some degree, but anyone telling you that one 24-hour fast is going to dramatically clean out your cells is getting ahead of the science. What we can say is that the conditions for it are being set up during this window, and that's still meaningful. That's important, but if you don't also know what's happening in your gut during a fast, you're missing one of the most counterintuitive parts of this whole thing. MIT researchers found something kind of wild. Fasting actually suppresses intestinal stem cell regeneration while you're in the fasted state. So during the fast itself, your gut is actually slowing down some of its repair activity. But then when you start eating again, the refeeding phase, there's a rebound surge in that regeneration. It's like your gut is pulling back, conserving resources. And then when food comes back in, it comes roaring back even harder. So the benefit isn't really happening during the fast. It's happening right after. That's a much more interesting story than just fasting is good for your gut. And it also tells you that how you break a fast might actually matter more than people think. And then there's one more thing I want to bring up because it almost never gets mentioned in basic fasting content, and it's probably the most underrated long-term benefit in the research. There's something called TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, and it's a compound that's been linked to cardiovascular risk. Higher TMAO levels in the blood have been associated with a higher risk of heart disease, and one source found that a regular 24-hour fasting pattern was linked to lower TMAO levels over time. Now, this isn't about one single fast magically fixing your heart health, but it suggests that the cardiovascular benefits people sometimes report from fasting aren't just about weight loss or blood pressure. There might be a deeper chemistry happening that most people have never even heard of. TMAO barely comes up in mainstream fasting conversations, and it probably should. So let's pull this all together, because there's actually a pretty clear picture here when you zoom out. Within 24 hours of not eating, your body switches its primary fuel from glucose to fat-derived ketones, and your brain starts running on that alternate fuel faster than most people expect. Your blood sugar drops significantly, up to 20% or more, and your body manages that by pulling from fat stores and bumping up hormones like growth hormone to protect your lean tissue while it does it. At the same time, 44 or more metabolites are shifting at once, some by enormous amounts, which means this isn't a single pathway event. It's a full metabolic reprogramming. Your gut actually pulls back during the fast and then surges during refeeding, which means the recovery window matters. Autophagy is probably starting to happen, but we shouldn't overstate what one fast does. And over time, this kind of fasting pattern may actually lower TMAO, which connects to cardiovascular health in a way that barely anyone talks about. At the start of this, you probably thought fasting was mostly about hunger and willpower, but what's actually happening is your body running a completely different operating system, one that's been built into your biology for a very long time. Whether you're fasting intentionally or you just had a weird day where you forgot to eat, Your body knows exactly what to do. It's been doing it for thousands of years. If this kind of breakdown is your thing, I've got more videos going deep on metabolism, sleep, and how your body actually works, not just the surface level stuff. Go check those out. They're worth your time. And if you found this one useful, drop a comment. I'm genuinely curious whether you've ever done a 24-hour fast and what you actually noticed. Subscribe if you want more of this, because there's a lot more coming. See you in the next one.